Good morning, kia ora, my stars. I hope you're all well this morning. Before we start this tarot reading this morning, let's just take a moment to settle the body. Not to get away from what has been happening, but to meet it without letting it overwhelm our nervous system. Let's take a breath. What unfolded in Minneapolis is no longer just something that happened. It's become a contested space. A space where grief, anger, politics, power, protection, and real human loss are all layered together. So in today's tarot reading, it isn't here to dramatize things. It is here to almost gently observe the shape on this moment. Because what is happening now isn't only about what occurred, but about who gets to define what it means. I've been sitting on this reading and I've just been watching the energies play out. And I didn't want to jump onto it immediately. I did load my condolence message. But yeah, let's get into this. And there's something important to say out loud. And I want to say it in a calm way. And it's become very clear that the collective response is not 100% unified. We have some voices that are calling for accountability, some are grieving, some are organizing, some are demanding investigations. And at the same time, as per usual, there are other voices, including from political podiums, that are continuing to push protective narratives, reframing and minimization of things. And this is a moment of shared understanding. It's supposed to be. And yet it is a moment of certain narratives that are fracturing. And we can all agree that when stories fracture, your nervous system, my nervous system feels it. Because us as human beings are wired for coherence. When coherence is missing, the body knows. And I think we can all agree that our bodies know. I saw it happening all the way here from New Zealand, from the Southern Hemisphere, and it absolutely shattered my world. I literally broke down in tears. I had no words. I watched it not because I wanted to. I watched it because I had to. And I think the same with other people. And again, my absolute love, light goes out to the family that has lost a hero due to the devil. I'm not going to do an 11 card spread today. I'm going to keep it short because I think this is still very raw for a lot of people, including me. So let's see what the cards have got to say for us today. A devil card always has to jump out, hasn't it? Let's cut. Let's have a look at the cards have got to say. Tower, again. The Five of Pentacles, again. Justice. Okay, let's unpack these three cards first, and then we'll get to the rest of it. And this Tower here, as the first card, it doesn't, in my opinion, only speak about the pew-pew itself. This is telling me, if we're looking at what's going on in the media, it is the collapse of a single story. The breakdown of an idea that moments like this will be understood in one way. This Tower moment, this Tower card, reflects what is happening publicly. I always want to call it a public rapture. Institutions being exposed and their ideological reasonings and their ideologies being destabilized. The system isn't only responding to what happened, it is also responding to loss of control of the narrative, loss of control over meaning. And the meaning and what they're pushing out to us doesn't hold the structure together. Right now, their meanings itself is being destabilized. Let that sit for you for a moment. And I think we can all see it happening in real time. It's Five of Pentacles shows the human layer. It's not just grief, but it is almost, I want to say, disorientation, because and how poignant is this card coming out with all the snowstorms and the cold and everything that people are taking to the street away from the warmth. And let's not forget, a family is currently mourning. Communities are protesting, and official podiums are trying to offer different moral frames at the same time. And it makes us feel that we are left out in the cold. And it is not only about loss. It's about the sense of many people and what they are carrying within themselves. And in this system, we have to remember that it is human reality, and that perception can create isolation, I would always say, in the collective body. And isolation, no matter which way we look at it, always causes destabilization. Behind that stained glass, what is being said there, there's instability taking place there. And it's been caused by the people that are taken to the street in spite of the cold weather that we are experiencing in America. People have had enough of being left out in the cold while things are happening behind the glass of the press room in the house that is white. Justice. And justice is here, but it is still not entering in 100% clear space. It's almost entering in a contested way. Justice doesn't look like answers. It almost looks like pressure. And we can already see this pressure for documentation, pressure for investigations, for records, for footage, for timelines, and for hearings on this. And I almost want to say that justice is appearing here when something is being pulled into visibility. When justice moves through a field where narratives are still being actively shaped and defended, it tells us that there isn't a resolution yet. It's almost like it's the examination phase. Justice hasn't yet had an outcome. But justice is a force to be reckoned with. The scales are still hanging in the balance. It hasn't flipped one way or the other. The sword hasn't come down yet. But it almost wants to tell me that two sides that's been told, but the truth is lying right at the tip. And justice, if not conflicted by, if you look at that color, it's purple. And what is purple in days gone by? Purple was the royal color. Purple was a color of power. Is there something lurking behind there? Let's hope not. Let's hope that those pillars of justice will remain, because they are solid concrete and they haven't crumbled yet. Seven of Swords in reversed. Strength card upright. Let's have a look here. The Seven of Swords in reversed. I almost want to push it to the center of this. But it almost forms the center of these two for me. And also, this Strength card centers these two cards. This card, in reality, is the contested truth. It is that is trying to govern narratives and managing and doing selective framing, strategic omissions, credibility structures, and exposure. In reverse here, it doesn't say deception has ended. It says deception is becoming harder to hold together. This is what appears when multiple versions of reality are visible at once. Footage alongside statements, eyewitness accounts alongside the podium language, public documentation alongside, I want to say, institutional messaging. This card here, the Seven of Swords, are telling us this moment is not only about what has happened. It is about who controls the story around it. And the real struggle has now arrived. Because of this tower collapse here. And people out in the cold that have witnessed things firsthand. The Strength card here carries even more weight, I think. It appears in an amplified space. If we have a look here, how it's sitting between the Five of Pentacles and Justice. It is our nervous system sovereignty. It speaks to the part of a collective choosing. It's not trying to become performative like in a circus. It's not driven by the rhetoric. It is not led by outrage perception or to replace the outrage perception. Strength here lies in the communities, protecting one another. And people slowing conversations instead of escalating them. And individuals refusing to surrender their humanity to ideology. And that is what then affects this justice. Strength says, in a volatile space, the most powerful act is regulation, controlling the anger, controlling the fact that we have taken control, and that is impacting justice, because the justice is seeing the strength of the peoples. Let's have a look what the other card is here, the last card, and then I'll look what the underlying energy is. Star. Hope and healing. This isn't just hope. It comes along with a cycle of healing. It doesn't resolve the narrative wars. It outlines them. It is almost like it is governing cultural memory. We just go back to, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then go back to the 60s, goes back to the cities, goes back to. It's a structural redesign. It is almost like a generational meaning that's coming to the forefront again. The card tells us this moment is already moved beyond the statements of the podiums. It's entering the collective record. And what enters the collective records reshapes future systems, slowly but permanently. Will it stop? Yes, but it doesn't end quickly, because the narrative defense is now part of the event itself. What changes isn't whether it exists, but it changes where authority of the meaning settles, is what I want to say. It's where the meaning settles and the authority of what they are trying to say. Let's have a look quickly what the underlying is. Let's have a look here. Knight of Wands in reverse. And there we go, Knight of Pentacles. And the Hierophant. Okay, these cards are shown again. It shows us here that there is a hold back on charging, hold back on escalating. Take a breath, slow down, do your protest, make your voice heard, but slow and steady is going to bring justice. And the powers that be, the structures that be, has to listen. They have to listen. Because people are basically saying enough is enough. We don't want this anymore. Because the narratives that are being spun from the Hierophant is being blocked. I read these cards differently for every reading. And I look at the iconography here, and it says, we the people have the keys. We are not going to stand by. We are going to move slowly, deliberately, and we are presenting to you that we are grounded. We're not going to do it in fire. We're going to do it slowly. Let's have a look. One or two last messages. I don't want to keep this reading too long. It's already gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but, when my guides speak, Let's have a look here. Ace of Swords in reverse. Sorry, I just got chills here. Upright, it is definitive that things are going to cut through. But here in reverse, it almost wants to tell me that there's not going to be any victory for this Hierophant. I'll just think about that for a second. There's not going to be a victory for the Hierophant. Look how the sword is stabbing through the powers. It is telling me that we have had enough. We are going to say enough is enough. And this, my friends, is not a political reading. This is an energy reading about what has been going on. And this is telling me that the people have had enough of the government spin. It is telling me no to any more of this. It's not telling me that no, this is not going to end. It is telling me no, we have had enough. We are offering to you to get out, disband them, because we are not going to fall for the bait to storm. We're not going to become federalized and martial law being implemented. But we, the people, are saying we have had enough. So that, my friends, it's all from me. Hope you've enjoyed this reading. And please keep an eye out for the February predictions. I'm going to do a world prediction for February, and I am doing a reading on predictions for New Zealand and the Southern Hemisphere specific on its own. So watch out for that. That is coming soon. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon. Be safe. I love you.